is a Supernatural News Wednesday. That means only one thing. We got Supernatural, we got news, we got to have a co-host. He's right over there. He's the best in the biz. We call him the BCB, the Big Cuddly Bear himself. He's the Beer City Bruiser. How you doing, Bruiser?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic, Cruiser. I'm repping one of my own shirts, as you can see.
I see that.
One of the old Ring of Honor shirts that I'm going to be uploading to my Pro Wrestling Tees store so the fans can own it.
Right on. And if you were sleeping a little bit earlier this weekend, you missed out on the big post I put out, and you put out as well, I believe, that you could have saved yourself some cash on those shirts.
Yeah, it was like a 20% sale. No, they have sales all the time, so just check our socials. We always post on there.
Yep.
When the sales are going on. What I liked is one of our listeners checked out not only my site, but she went and she checked out all the other sites and was excited because it's not just me that's on there. I mean,
that's right.
Legends on there. And,
yep.
And yes, it says Pro Wrestling Tees, but they also have like pop stuff and horror stuff and all that. So
yes, I
encourage listeners to go check it out.
Yeah, go check it out.
Check out my page especially.
Yes. Here's your in order. Beer City Bruiser first. You had to pick up all the shirts there, and you have some quite original shirts over there, my friend.
Yeah, so everything I have is original. Well,
I mean,
took logos and skewed them. Our famous one right now is the A&W logo. It says BCB.
Yeah, that's a good one. I'm partial to the Harley logo.
Oh, yeah.
I like that one.
Which my graphic designer, when he created it, there's just one little extra point on the shield, so that way Harley can't come at me that I'm plagiarizing them.
That's good. Yep,
and the orange is a different color orange than what Harley uses, so therefore I am not in any trouble.
There you go. And then our good friend, the Blue Meanie. After you visited Bruiser's site, then go to Meanie's site. And then after that, it's a free-for-all. You just go visit whoever you want to visit. So there you go. But both guys have wonderful, wonderful creative minds, and you'll find plenty of T-shirt material. You'll keep yourself in T-shirts, I think, for probably 2/3 of the year.
Yeah. And if anybody out there has any ideas for T-shirts, shoot them my way. I'm always open to. Or if they're an artist and want to do fancy pictures of us, like you did with our Jedi faces, which people keep asking me, "Hey, where'd this come from?" And I said, "Oh, my buddy Tim designed it." And
that's right.
Well, how do we get some? And I said, contact Tim. He'll do it for you.
It was just a stroke of luck, I tell you. I just sometimes a blind squirrel finds a nut. That's how I managed to find that.
I like how you made us all Jedis too, not Sith Lords.
Well,
I thought you would have definitely put a Sith Lord on you.
Well, wow. No,
I can see you being an emperor. You know,
I would be Emperor Palpatine. Is that?
Yes, I can see that because you've taken me under your wing in the podcast world, and you've shown me the I don't even want to say the dark side of the podcast world. No.
I thought you were just going to start with old and wrinkly and work your way down from there, but
no, you're a very powerful man. How about that?
Oh, thanks. Well, I'll take that. I guess I'll take that. Boy, you just ought to stop while you're ahead.
I'm just saying, you can be the Sith Lord, and I'll be the Sith apprentice, and we'll just take over the podcast world.
Okay, well, I'll take that. I'll take that, and we'll run with that. We have a lot of news to get to today, Bruiser. Not that I'm trying to cut you off from disparaging me anymore, but we have a lot of stuff going on. First of all, boy, you guys have been coming through with Parashare stuff and I Knew a Murderer stuff, and so we want to thank you so much for that. We've got your Parashare stories. Sarah had something yesterday for a story. She has a huge Parashare story, but I'm going to stitch it together and play it next week. It's like 6 minutes long. It's really good.
She's the one that sent us in a murderer one too that really knocked us off our socks.
Yeah. So she's got that deal. And so, so she's got a Parashare story, an audio Parashare story. So that'll be next week. I've got one of the Matts has some stories that we're going to read this week. He was concerned that I had forgot him. I didn't forget Matt. We got his stuff this week.
Yep.
Then
we won't forget. We don't forget you. It's just we only have a certain amount of time to get all this in there. So
that's right.
We will get to them.
That's right. And boy, do we have news this week. News. For some reason, everything paranormal came out of the woodwork this week. I don't know what it was. Maybe, I don't know, holiday weekend? Ghosts like holidays? I don't know what it is. So they all came out of the woodwork. I guess that's it.
They thought, hey, you want spirits for your Memorial Day weekend, not knowing we were talking about alcohol.
Right. Yeah. And then
like, we're here.
Yep, they're like, here we are. And we were like, no, we meant White Claw? Yeah, who knew? So there was that deal. Oh, by the way, you guys, thank you so much. I'm looking through my email. You know, I subscribe to Chartable, which I don't know if you know what Chartable is, but it keeps track of where you chart on certain podcast charts.
Okay.
Did you know we've been charting this entire time?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I guess we have.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We've been charting pretty good, huh?
Yeah. On Apple Podcasts, we've been charting on hobbies and leisure, and even our friends over in England like us. Go figure. I mean, yeah. So there you go. Yeah, we're like, as far as hobbies go, we're like in the top 10.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah. So, well, I don't know why you're congratulating me. You're part of that deal, too. So,
well, yeah, I couldn't have done it without you, though, bud.
Go ahead and break your arm patting your own back, if you would. So,
Barry Horowitz, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Barry Horowitz, that thing. So thank you guys for putting us there. That's who we ought to thank. We didn't have anything to do with this thing. I mean, no,
it was all the listeners. Thank you.
So thank you guys for that. We've been charting in hobbies, and we've been charting in leisure. So we've been chatting in multiple categories.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool.
Look at us.
And in multiple weeks. It's not like it happened 1 week and then we disappeared. We've been charting for months. I went back and we've been charting for months.
So we're chart toppers now, huh?
I guess so, yeah. So they like the Cruiser and the Bruiser. So I guess I shouldn't listen to the two people who keep screwing with our
exactly. Listen to
screwing with our reviews.
Yeah, listen to the other one, especially you said over the pond. Listen to all of them. The English know what they're talking about.
Yeah, they do. They're quite sophisticated.
So do our American listeners.
That's right. They're quite sophisticated. Sophisticated.
Unlike us.
Unlike us. Who aren't sophisticated. We can't talk. At least that's what those two people in the review say. We can't talk. We're not funny. What was the other thing? I
think we're funny.
There's too many of those rim shots, I think is what it was. Yeah, that's what the other thing was. Okay, so anyways. Oh, by the way, one of our listeners sent us a story that we can do rim shots to.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, so that'll be coming up a little bit later for those two people in the reviews who hate that stuff. Yeah, so boy, do we have big news to start it off with.
Okay.
So
Let's blow some minds.
Let's blow some minds. I'm sitting around the crib, and that's what the kids call it, and hanging out with the chipmunks, and I'm watching TMZ, which I do on occasions. It's my guilty pleasure.
Okay.
And one of the reasons I watch TMZ is because Harvey and Charles are big into the space thing, and they're big into aliens.
I was gonna say they've talked about Avi and stuff like that. So
yeah, they talk with Avi every once in a while. They get Avi Loeb on, and they talk space. And curiously enough, they had Jeremy Corbell on because he and George Knapp got some interesting footage.
Really?
Off of their podcast, yeah. And it is a massive UFO sighting over a military base, which happened last week.
Ooh, okay.
So I pulled a little clip here. We'll play it right off the top of the program here so you can get a listen to it. This is from TMZ Live. It is Jeremy Corbell talking to Harvey and Charles about the massive UFO sighting clip that they played on their podcast over a military base. And here is that interview in progress.
I've never used that word, but I am befuddled too. So check it out. This is really simple. This is an active investigation. We're trying to crowdsource to get more information. What happened was there was, these lights that were in the sky. And I first thought they were flares. This was 2 years ago. But all the Marines that I've spoken with said they could see the body of the craft. You can hear that in the audio. So they're telling me there was a triangular shaped craft, and you can see that in that low light image. So I've been doing my best to get information, and I want the world now to kind of embrace this. The whole idea, as you guys know, is to reduce UFO stigma and to help the reporting process. So this is an open case we're putting to the public. It's just incredible. Again, there's a lot of talk if these are just flares, and we're trying to figure that out. But all the witnesses say they saw a huge triangular-shaped craft. They actually shot up illumination flares to try to highlight that craft at that time. There were training exercises going on at the time, but not on every night. So this is something that everybody's trying to figure out, what is this?
This is in 29 Palms, California, in the high desert, and it was near a Marine base, Camp Wilson, and this was just about, 2 years ago or 3 years? It was 2 years ago. 2 years ago.
Yeah, just under 2 years ago. It was actually over the military base. That's why there's got to be a whole bunch of data that's not being released and not being properly reported. So all of these people that came forward to me, they shoot flares. They're telling me these were not flares until they shot up the illumination flares.
So Jeremy, explain, once they took these pictures, these images, what happened to it? Did it fly away? Did it disappear? What were they saying happened once they illuminated it?
Yeah, this is what's so bizarre. So as those illumination rounds start coming down towards that craft across the board, they say it blinked out. And I said, what? Did like the lights blink out? And they said the entire body of the craft that we saw just vanished. And so that's why, look, I don't know what this is. This is an open case, but we're trying to get more information. There's got to be more people with video and information of this, and the base is not being forthcoming. So that's the idea, is let's see who comes forward now. This might be an explainable case, but that's my job. Investigating UFOs, you have to go for the lead and try to understand an unidentified.
I'll play the role of skeptic, as I usually do, because I really am just trying to figure out what this is. The part that I'm skeptical about, though, Jeremy, is it happened over a military base. You have the people who we hear on the video, are they from the base?
Yes, those are 50 Marines.
So when they fired the flares to illuminate this thing and then it vanishes, how come they weren't rolling video then?
Well, actually, I just asked them about that this morning. They were taking clips and then stopping and taking photos. But if I look at the metadata, you've got about 6 minutes of footage from when it was first sighted. So they're taking video, taking stills. So they're not filming the entire time. However, there's got to be more.
So they get into some minutia about the actual video. But the video, basically, you see about 6 lights that go straight across. It almost looks like the Starlink videos pictures when you see it. And by the way, the podcast with Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp is weaponized if you're looking for it. And we'll stop our audio with that, but you can check it out for yourself. Again, as Jeremy mentioned, the actual sighting was 2 to 3 years ago out at in California. But it's extremely interesting because these military men went straight to Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp and gave them the footage. So there's no secondhand information. All the metadata was given directly to Jeremy Corbell. They're doing the investigation. They're handling everything.
Which is funny because we have that committee now that the government put together, and this happened over a military base. So you'd think the government want to handle it themselves.
Right. And you think they would be the first ones to expose this and say, well, here's an active case we have that we can bring to you, that we can tell you exactly what's going on with it. And we're looking into it, and we're trying to figure out why some sort of UAP would try to screw with our military base.
Do you think that maybe they're using the two of them under, I don't want to say government contract, but kind of like what they did with the, who's the scientist that's on Skinwalker Ranch? He's also part of the committee and stuff.
Travis Taylor?
Travis, yeah. You think they're doing kind of the same thing with George and Jeremy?
I think.
Or do you think this is just these soldiers believe these guys and know they'll get to the bottom of it and the public will be able to hear about it?
I know George has a lot of contacts. We'll put it that way. So I think it's a safe place to land either way. Yeah. So I think that they can give it to George because they know that they can trust him to get down to business with it.
Yeah.
That's one thing. And the second thing is I think George also then can turn around and put it into proper hands when he's done with it. And I think the government feels all right with George.
What I like about the story too is that they had to shoot the illumination rounds. And they only do that if they don't know, they know something's there, but they don't know what it is.
Right. Yep. Yeah. Very interesting story indeed. So when I saw this, I went, wow, okay. Interesting stuff and stuff that we should be aware of, but it wasn't widely reported. I mean, it was out there, but it wasn't widely reported, and it was broken by this podcast. So Interesting stuff indeed.
Did they ever say why they waited 2 years to release it?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay.
No, it was never stated why. My guess is because a lot of these guys probably had to serve out their tour duty.
Oh, the soldiers you're talking about?
Yeah, they were probably, a lot of them are put under NDAs when they see stuff like that.
My son has said that too. He's had things where something's bugged him, and he's called me, because he's my son, so he can talk to me. But he had to leave certain parts out because he couldn't talk about them. But he wanted to get across like something that was on his conscience, that really weighed on him.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is an interesting conversation because I'm his dad, and he wants to tell me everything because I make him feel better. But there's things he can't talk about. So
right, exactly. Let's move on. Earth may have debris from an alien star system or systems trapped in its orbit. This, according to new research. A new study questions if our planet could capture rocky and icy visitors from outside the solar system and how scientists could spot them. So we may have alien junk in our atmosphere.
Just add to the space garbage.
That's right. Astronomers have found that renegade objects from alien star systems could be captured by Earth's gravity and linger in orbit around our planet for potentially millions of years. However, most of these objects would likely be too small to detect with current telescopes. That, according to a new study published May 17th on the preprint server. I never know how to say this. It's RX and then or AR. And I believe it's 14 because it's in Roman numerals, but it's XIV, so it should be 14. Yeah, I believe. So it'd be R14 according to the pirates. R14 objects entering the solar system from the interstellar space outside of it can be trapped into bound orbits around the sun as a result of a close passage to Jupiter. Co-author Avi Loeb, a professor of physics at Harvard University, told Live Science in an email, "We investigate the possibility that some of them are captured and become near-Earth objects, or NEOs, which has nothing to do with the Matrix, by the way.
Yeah, nothing at all.
Nothing. These interstellar interlopers, which, by the way, is a great band name, Interstellar Interlopers.
Yeah, it is. With their first signal, there's space junk in the trunk.
I like it. There's space junk in the trunk. The interstellar interlopers, as the team calls them, would take the form of icy rocks jettisoned from their home star systems before taking up residence in ours. However, Loeb and his colleagues do not rule out the possibility that these objects are crafted by intelligent aliens and could end up in our solar system as well. Ooh, so intelligent space ice.
We don't want to melt that.
Do you have a feeling the Kush is really, really good over there at the university?
Yeah.
It's just the best shit you could ever get your hands on.
They love it.
Oh, it sparks up so good, too. Interstellar visitors. I sound like I've been hitting it with Avi. Interstellar visitors have been of great interest to astronomers since 2017 when the first intruder space rock, a cigar-shaped object called Oumuamua, was discovered in our cosmic backyard. We all know about Oumuamua. I don't have to cover that with you. Let's see if we can get to cut to the finish here. Essentially, they say interstellar objects originate from outside our solar system and could potentially be technological in origin. That's what they're getting down to here, Bruiser. Similar to the 5 interstellar probes that humanity has launched, such as Voyager 1 and 2, Pioneer 10 and 11, and New Horizons. That, according to Avi Loeb. So he's basically saying maybe they did this on purpose. Yeah. Of these 5, only Voyager 1 and 2 have already left the solar system. If the objects are artificial in origin, they can tell us about extraterrestrial technological civilizations. So Avi's basically hoping that these bad boys got some tech in them so he can figure out how to dry out his weed faster.
So he's just got to figure out a way to collect it.
Yeah.
He needs a giant space net. So maybe he needs to switch from Dreamland Kush to invigorating Kush.
That's right. He hasn't figured out how to get the purple yet. He's got to call. You got to call Snoop for that.
Exactly. Maybe that's the key. Call Snoop. figure out how to collect this stuff.
Yeah. You just get Snoop into aliens, and by gosh, you got it all. First of all,
I think he is. He's into everything.
You can get all the newest releases from Death Row because he owns a company now, and then and then you get the good stuff because he's always got the good stuff on him. Even Willie Nelson calls Snoop now. Yeah.
Well, did you hear Willie stopped?
He stopped?
Yeah, he made an announcement he's going to stop.
Well, he's 90 now. I mean, he's got to enjoy the last bit of his life. He's got to at least remember it. But Snoop was at the 90th birthday, so I bet you he probably.
I bet you they did. Yeah.
They have a song together.
Yes, I've heard that.
Yeah.
That's why I said Snoop. Snoop does everything.
He does. Yeah. He spans all genres.
Yeah, he is truly a pop icon.
He is. Yeah. As much as that chaps my ass to say pop icon and Snoop Dogg, he
pop culture icon.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Pop culture icon. That works. Yeah. That works. Let's move on. Aliens are mutilating sheep and whales and leaving very precise clues. That, according to one UFO hunter, Helena Worth says aliens are responsible behind the recent killings of 2 sheep in the Cambrian Mountains in Wales, and has been obsessed with UFO spotting since she claimed to have seen one years ago. A UFO hunter has claimed that aliens are butchered a number of sheep in Wales. If a bunch of sheep are butchered in Wales, does anyone know if they can't hear them?
Isn't that just haggis?
I think it is. Yeah, it's a haggis. They call it a haggis factory in Wales, I believe. Yeah. Helena Worth, a self-described amateur scientist, has become obsessed with aliens after she claimed to have spotted one flying over her home several years ago. An alien or a sheep? I'm sorry, I didn't have this up and going. There we go. An alien or a sheep? You got to specify which one was flying over her home.
Was she laying down for a nap or not?
The sheep or the alien?
The woman. So that way, if it's a flying sheep, she's just falling asleep. She's counting sheep.
Oh, there you go. I'm sorry. I missed. It was
a bad joke. It was bad.
No. I knew what you were talking about. I just figured that. If you're counting aliens, you had issues.
Yeah, you definitely do. It means you're about to be probed.
And enjoy it. The 41-year-old, the 41-year-old who works for, now see, this is a Wales word, what we call one of those words you can't pronounce. You think it reads one thing, but it is actually, I'm going to get 4 emails that tell me, you idiot, it's pronounced this way.
It's all our fans in Wales.
But that's okay, because we have a huge following in England. Although I think it's dropping off because I don't know how to pronounce Welsh words. Is it Ceredigion County Council?
Let's do it. I like that. That works perfect.
I'll get an email that'll tell me, you idiot, that's not how it's pronounced.
Yeah. But we're going to go with it.
All right. They'll think it's lovable anyways. Has now claimed that the extraterrestrial life is responsible for recent mutilations of sheep close to her home. The cause of the sheep deaths in the Cambrian Mountains, which often sees multiple carcasses spread miles apart, has previously been attributed to big cats. I somehow don't think big cats get miles apart with sheep carcasses.
No, I don't think so either. They kill, eat, and leave.
Yep. But Helena claims that UFOs are a more likely explanation. She said with cattle and sheep mutilations, it's always very precise cut marks or something an animal couldn't do. For years, she says, farmers in and around the Cambrian Mountains have feared a large cat is responsible for brutal killings of livestock. Rumors of a large feline lurking in the, I said Ceredigion area, yep. Right? Emerged as far back as the 1970s when a series of sheep were found eaten. There have been numerous cases since, including the killing of 12 sheep in 1981 in the village of Bont, giving name to the Beast of Bont, which I believe was a Rolling Stones tune, if I remember right. And the slaughter of 20 in 2012. Earlier this year, local farmer Jonathan Davies isn't he part of Korn?
I was going to say he's the lead singer of Korn, isn't he?
Yeah. Also reported the killing of his sheep to cops. No, the cops didn't kill the sheep.
He literally called the cops up and went, the sheep are dead.
Yes, he did. He said, 2 of my sheep were skinned. There's no actual body left, just the skin.
Ooh.
Oh, that's creepy.
They wanted some veal.
No, veal is cattle.
Oh, that's right. What is lamb? Just lamb?
It's lamb, yeah.
They wanted a euro. How about that?
Yeah. It was so tidy, it was like someone had been there with a knife and skinned them, is the quote here. I'd never seen anything like that before. Only the head was left.
So it's definitely not a cat.
No, that's not a cat. Mr. Davies claims he was also told by the police that a big cat should have been responsible for killing his yearly ewes.
What a pun.
Reports of the latest incident is what has prompted Helena to come forward, as she claimed the big cat theory wasn't plausible. She added, a cat would have left it a mess, which is why I and others believe a UFO could be to blame for these sheep mutilations in Wales.
I'm still, after, what was it, 2-3 weeks ago when we had that guest?
Burl Bear? And
who said that, no, the government's testing these laser precision and stuff. Like, I still believe that for these animal mutilations. It
makes a lot of sense.
It does. Like, when he had said that, it's like something clicked, and I was like, okay. And now, because I've done research on a couple. There's some more mutilations on Skinwalker. There's some on the Frog Ranch and stuff. And I'm just like, and I was looking at the pictures, and I'm like, I can see laser,
There's something in this article that's very interesting that'll back that. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
She says, recalling her first UFO experience in December of 2018, Helena said it was 6 o'clock in the morning, and because it was winter, it was pitch black outside. Then I noticed at the other side of the valley, which is about 3/4 of a mile away, a very bright white yellow light. I knew there were houses there, and my initial thought was there was a house on fire. I wondered whether I should drive over and find out what was going on or phone the fire brigade. As I was deciding, the bright light started to move. It was circular like a sphere, and it was hovering until it started to move to the west very slowly, but in a straight line trajectory. Then it stopped above some houses, and it was there for a few seconds. I thought I was seeing things, but then I started moving back to the east, and it was in the same straight line. It was moving in between, I would guess, at 20 to 30 miles per hour. 20 and 30 miles per hour, which doesn't seem right, according to her description. She said, and it was moving to the east, and it started dripping like molten lava, and it was dripping down from it. And it was just before it went out of sight, the craft turned a bright red color and disappeared behind the trees. Now, that bright red color could be mistaken for a laser.
Exactly. And the dripping molten,
could be some sort of weapon.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is interesting. Yeah, it's all very interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, are you ready for this? This is that story. This is the last story before we go to break. And let me grab the name here because I want to give him proper credits. By the way, if you have a story for us for Supernatural News, it's real easy. You just send it to tim@darknessradio.com. And by gosh, if it's a good story, we'll throw it right here on the air because we're like that. We'll just we'll throw it on the air. We won't throw anything on the air. I mean, I've been getting kind of weird stories lately that I'll take a look at and be like, oh, it's good, but I don't know.
It's a good story, but it doesn't fit.
Yeah, but it doesn't fit. If it's like monster trucks versus fire, I won't put that on. I don't know what that has to do with the price of tea in China. But this one comes from Matt Smith.
Thank you, Matt.
Yeah. And Matt, I have my rim shots all loaded up and ready, just so you know. He said, read this one with rim shots. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Even the title is rim shot worthy. For the first time, scientists have detected a cyclone on the North Pole of Uranus. Pretty good, huh?
They was listen to me sleep at night.
Did you know, Bruiser, Uranus takes 84 years to orbit the sun? Mm-hmm. And so that last time that planet's north polar region was pointed at Earth.
Oh, I love when someone points their north
polar
regions towards me.
Yeah. Radio telescope technology was in its infancy, but now scientists have been using radio telescopes like the Very Large Array, the past few years as Uranus has slowly revealed more and more of its North Pole.
I just see a scientist getting home. And, hey, honey, how was your day? Good. We just looked at the North Pole of Uranus.
And his wife went, those pictures were supposed to be between you and I.
They subscribe to my OnlyFans, right?
Right? Did you get the $5.99 a month out of them? I don't want to have to discount again.
There's our OnlyFans thing. We just post pictures of Uranus.
I don't know. I haven't shaved in a while. Although I do have Manscaped.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. I'm thinking that's what I'm going to do.
By the way,
just post pictures of Uranus all over the OnlyFans.
By the way, kids, still get 20% off right now. Use the code DADVILLE. you can get the implements you need to shave Uranus. Just say.
I use it.
To shave Uranus?
I shave Uranus.
You don't shave my anus. You don't come anywhere near it, mister. Just saying. Data also reveals, not Data the robot, but data also reveals patterns in temperature, zonal wind speed. Bet you didn't know there's a zonal wind speed around Uranus.
Oh, I knew there was. Trust me.
Yeah.
I let one go and my wife looked at me and said, is China still on the planet?
And trace gas variations consistent with a polar cyclone. That's right. Uranus can generate a polar cyclone.
Get out of the air conditioning. Get out in the heat. Warm that up. Make it a summer cyclone.
Hey, look, honey, I turned my Uranus into... wait. Yeah. Hey, look, honey, I turned Uranus into a confection oven. You. Think about that for a minute.
Nice
these onion rings taste like shit.
That's Saturn.
Oh, that's right. Your onion rings of Saturn taste like shit.
That's because Uranus is so cold and is projecting that coldness on it with the cyclones.
Ew. You're overthinking this. I mean, it was just supposed to be a nice, easy...
Sorry, I got excited with Uranus out there.
Yeah, thank you. Scientists have long known that Uranus's south pole has a swirling feature. Whoa. When Voyager 2 flew past, well, Uranus is so big it had to take 30 years to fly past it. I don't know.
Uranus is pretty big.
Yeah. Uranus is so big, Voyager 2 flew past it in 1986. It directed high wind speeds there. However, the way the planet was tilted, it did not allow Voyager to see the North Pole.
I hate when I can't see the North Pole.
Yeah, right. That's when I know it's time to start doing my DDP yoga again.
Yeah, like, hey, I'd really like to see your North Pole, but Uranus won't let me.
Yeah. But the VLA in New Mexico has now been studying Uranus the past several years, and observations collected in 2015, 2021, and 2022 were able to peer deep into Uranus's atmosphere.
They bought a dinner first, right?
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Okay, that's okay.
Yeah.
Buy a dinner, get it drunk, and you can go inside Uranus all the time.
The thermal emission data showed that circulating air at the North Pole seems to be warmer and drier, which are the hallmarks of a strong cyclone. Mm-hmm.
Well, it's the South Pole is where you get a little wet ones.
These observations tell us a lot more about the story of Uranus. It's now a novel. It's a much more dynamic world than you might think, said Alex Akins of NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Southern California. Yes, they've dedicated a laboratory to Uranus. Who is lead author.
Want to explore all of Uranus.
That's right, girl. We're going to get into it tonight. We're going to get deep into it tonight. Who is lead author of a new study published in Geophysical Letters. They have a newsletter dedicated to Uranus. Are you ready for this? Yeah. Here's the grand finale. I don't have a drum roll, but here we go. It isn't just a plain blue ball of gas. There's a lot happening under the hood.
Oh, it sucks when you get blue balls around Uranus.
Yeah, that's what I told her. There's a lot happening under the hood. The researchers said the cyclone on Uranus is similar to the polar cyclones observed by the Cassini mission at Saturn. With the new findings, cyclones which rotate in the same direction their planet rotates, or anticyclones, which rotate in the opposite directions, have now been identified at the poles on every planet in our solar system that has an atmosphere. The researchers said this confirms a broad truth that planets with substantial atmospheres, whether the worlds are made of rock or gas, all show signs of swirling vortexes at the poles.
Well, that's good. I'm glad they all have something in common.
Yep. By the way, it's springtime at Uranus's North Pole. As it continues into summer, astronomers hope to see even more changes in its atmosphere. And that is the last story in this half of Supernatural News.
That's all the news on Uranus, if you didn't know.
That's right. Tell you what, before we get to the break, you want to do a Parashare story? Should we do an audio?
Yeah, definitely.
Let's do an audio Parashare story. By the way,
we can get Uranus off our brains.
Thank you. Yeah, there's too much of my anus going around here. I'm not hitting the rim shot on that deal.
No rim shot on Uranus?
No. God.
It's a job for somebody else?
That's right. That's right. By the way, if you have something for Parashare, you can do it one of two ways. You can send me an email at tim@darknessradio.com, or you can send us a voice note. The way you do that, you go to darknessradioshow.com. You click on the blue button, which is on the right-hand side of the screen, and you can leave up to a 2-minute voice note. If it takes longer than 2 minutes, you just click that blue button again. You leave another 2-minute voice note. I will stitch those two together, or maybe you need more than that. Our friend Sarah had 3 of them, so I'll stitch all 3 together, and I'll make a 6-minute story for Sarah on that deal.
Nice.
But you can leave as many as you need.
Hearing that.
Yeah, next week we'll hear that. But I will stitch as many together as you need, and we will put your story together, and then we'll air it right here on the air. For this one, our friend Matt Cortez left us a voicemail at darknessradioshow.com, and he has a Parashare story for us, and here is Matt right now with that story.
Hey Tim, hey Bruiser. This is Matt. I'm from Salem, Oregon. I just wanted to call and ask you guys a quick question to see if you'd ever heard anything about this. But my sister had gotten married back in the year 2003, and it was an abnormally warm summer for us. In July, we were 117 degrees on her wedding, which was exhausting to say the least. However, the lead up to the wedding, there was actually sightings of what I would call a foxtail, which was like a tennis ball with a windsock attached to it that you could twirl around and throw it. Anyway, this thing looked like that. It was transparent, but you could see the light spectrum kind of reflecting off of this thing, and I thought it was weird, and I literally saw this thing hit a tree and move the tree, and it didn't slow down, and I about lost it. And thankfully my uncle looked right at me and goes, "Did you see that?" And we described the same exact thing, and it was very reassuring to have somebody else there to see it. So I have never heard anybody else talk on this on any of the paranormal podcasts I listen to, so I figured I'd take it to the best in paranormal podcasting and ask you guys, see, have you ever heard of anything like that? So about a tennis ball sized orb with a spectral light trail behind it. Yeah, hopefully you guys are doing good. Thanks.
Bruiser?
I haven't heard of that, to be honest. I think it's great, and I love that he got not only did he experience it, but someone else experienced it too. And it has to have some sort of physical tribute to it, because if it moved a tree,
I've heard of something similar to it, but not in the way he's describing.
Okay.
On the show, I want to say it was probably 3 or 4 years ago, we were talking to somebody who was talking about the spirits of loved ones who had physical balls of light leave them when they passed. that would, and there were balls of energy that would actually crash through the roofs of houses and would physically move things as they were leaving loved ones. So I'm not talking about like an ethereal ball of light that moves through objects. I'm talking about physical energy that actually crashes through something.
Okay.
It's almost like the spirit has such a, I don't want to call it a thunderbird because it's not a thunderbird. Maybe it would be a thunderbird. No, it's not a thunderbird, but it's it's that type of energy where it's, and
it makes sense if it's a past loved one because they were celebrating, he said, what, sister's wedding, I believe is what he said.
Yeah. So
you'd think past loved ones would want to come and be a part of that. So it makes sense what you're saying. If they had lost someone and this was them coming back to kind of check out and see the sister's happiness. Well, the family's happiness.
Yeah. The way that I always heard it described, or the way that I heard it described was that it was happening at the time that somebody was passing away. Although if you weren't around anyone that was passing away at the time, it wouldn't have made much sense to you. You were going to a wedding though.
But the thing is too, is we don't know where it goes after it leaves the body. How do we know it doesn't wander this plane? You know what I mean? And how do we know that whatever that could have been attached to either the sister or who the sister was marrying? And he just happened to see it because it made itself known to him and that other guest.
I'm looking up what a typical Thunderbird is supposed to look like. I'm not talking about a Ford Thunderbird. Don't get me wrong. I know what that looks like.
Watch Smokey and the Bandit. You know what that is.
Yeah.
That was a Camaro, though.
That was a Pontiac Firebird. They depict it as, the general description is said to create thunder by flapping its wings like a literal bird, but the Thunderbird, the way that like the Algonquin would describe it, it had like a horned serpent look to it. There's some cryptid descriptions to it. And then when you hear Thunderbird, you also hear something that is more like an energy creature. So I wonder, they talk about the Phoenix too, which was more of like an energy creature, but cryptid as well.
Yeah, but a Phoenix usually comes to show rebirth. I don't know why a Phoenix would show up at a wedding unless they had some sort of tragedy before and this was someone there moving past it. I don't know. I like the theory, like you said before, that energy leaves us when we pass away, and there's reports of these balls leaving and going through and moving stuff. Mm-hmm. We don't know where they go. They could be traveling anywhere, and I do believe that spirits can make themselves known to certain people when they want to, and I think at this particular time it was someone that had passed coming back, their energy coming back to be a part of this celebration. That's my belief. I've never heard of the foxtail and obviously we heard of orbs and stuff, but like orbs don't move trees. So it had some sort of physical substance to it.
But to answer your question, I have heard of physical balls of light, yes, that move like that, and I've seen physical balls of light.
Yeah, I have too.
Not that have moved anything, but when you go to places like the Queen Mary, or you go to places like Waverly Hills, you'll see a ball of light that has a red trail behind it.
Yeah.
That's very, very much, you can capture it with a camera. You can see it. I've seen one in my room at the Queen Mary. And it's very much a spirit.
Yeah.
It's a spirit entity, and it's about the size of a tennis ball.
Okay.
Yeah. So yes, in a nutshell, yes. I've seen what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. I've never seen it take out anything physically, though.
I haven't either. The only time I've ever seen the balls of light, they just pass through stuff. They don't move stuff. Yeah. And I've seen them pass through glass. I've seen them pass through drywall,
Yeah. Yep.
Cement. but I haven't seen him. That's what intrigues me. Is he saw the tree move.
Yeah. Yep. So that's your answer. That's what we've got. I mean, I'm sorry it's not more decisive, but that's about as much as we can come up with. I know it's not the most decisive thing you've heard in the world, but we'll try to do a little bit more research and see if we can come up with something.
I'll just say I haven't wrote that down, so I want to see what I can find out.
There you go. When we come back, boy, have we got some interesting stories for you. First of all, AI has now become a counselor. We'll tell you a little bit about that and whether you should believe it or not. The house that inspired The Conjuring is now offering camping experiences. We've got that as well. We've got more interesting stories coming up. Believe it or not, the FBI is on to Bigfoot.
Oh,
we've got that story coming up.
Bigfoot better run, man. Don't want him doing some time.
And finally, in the final story of today, if we can get around to it, a DJ did a set for the Ghosts at the Ancient Ram Inn. That is how we'll end the program. That's right. Techno for every spirit. We'll get to that at the end of the program. That's how we're going to end today's Supernatural News. It's a Supernatural News Wednesday with the Cruiser and the Bruiser. It's the best in paranormal podcasting. This is Darkness Radio. Welcome back to the best in paranormal programming. This is Darkness Radio. I'm your host, Tim Dennis. Right over there is Beer City Bruiser. Together, we're the Cruiser and the Bruiser, breaking out the best in hot rock and roll and supernatural news. That's right. It's a Wednesday, so we do this thing called Supernatural News. We also have Parashare today. We got Parashare on the way for you today as well. You know something, Bruiser? I got to get this theme going because, boy, do we have some scary stuff coming up. So we got to play this deal. Yeah, it's that time again. You know you kids love the theme.
Nightmare fuel.
I'm going to start out slow. In honor of Tina Turner, we're going to start it out slow. And then we're going to get a little faster.
Do you know that there's a Mandela effect with her now?
What?
Yeah.
Tina Turner did not die anywhere before.
That's what I keep saying, but people are like, we could have sworn.
No.
There's your newest Mandela effect.
Come on, people, wake up. She never died.
That's what I keep saying.
She never died anywhere, anytime, anywhere. You people just were too into your lives. That's all it was. And you didn't give a shit about Miss Turner until she died. That's what it was.
Yeah.
You heard Private Dancer 30 years ago, and you thought she dropped off the planet, and you got lazy because you were listening to your 2 Chainz, and that was it. So stop it! All right, let me get on with this. A legit app in Google Play turns malicious and sends mic recordings every 15 minutes. Probably telling you thought Tina Turner was the Mandela effect deal.
Probably.
Yeah. The malicious iRecorder app has come to light, but its purpose remains shrouded. An app that has had more than 50,000 downloads, a whole 50,000. From Google Play, surreptitiously, which is the biggest word I'll use today, by the way, recorded nearby audio for every 15 minutes and sent it to the app developer. A research from security firm ESET said the app, titled iRecorder Screen Recorder, which is one I would never download in my life.
Never. That's just inviting somebody in to spy in your life.
First of all, I don't own an Android, so I'm a snob. I don't own an Android.
I don't either. I have an iPhone.
I have an iPhone. Started life on Google Play in September of 2021 as a benign app that allowed users to record the screens of their Android devices, ESET researcher Lucas Stefanko said in a post published on Tuesday. 11 months later, the legitimate app was updated to add entirely new functionality. It included the ability to remotely turn the device mic and record sound, connect to an attacker-controlled server, and upload the audio and other sensitive files that were stored on the device.
So basically a different way to hack somebody.
Yeah. The secret espionage functions were implemented using code from AHMyth or AHMyth, an open source RAT or remote access Trojan that has been incorporated into several other Android apps in recent years. You know, I keep saying that Android's the devil, but it really is.
It is. Look, they're right now admitting that they have spyware on your phone or device, Android device.
The one reason I switched to iPhone years and years and years ago was because Android was so corruptible, and iPhone claimed that at the time, it's not anymore because it incorporated Windows functions.
Yeah.
But at the time, iPhone was a solitary unit, so it wasn't corruptible.
Yeah.
So I picked iPhone because I just thought Android's going to be a problem.
And it is.
But sure enough, now get this, the RAT, the remote access Trojan, is a rat. That's what it stands for, rat. So it says here, once the rat was added to iRecorder, all users of the previously benign app received updates that allowed their phones to record nearby audio and send it to a developer-designated server through an encrypted channel. As the time went on, code taken from AHMyth was heavily modified, an indication that the developer became more adept with the open-source rat. ESET named the newly modified rat in iRecorder a rat. Get it? A rat?
A rat.
Yeah. Stefanko installed the app repeatedly on devices in his lab, and each time the result was the same. The app received an instruction to record 1 minute of audio and send it to the attacker's command and control server, also known colloquially. It's hard for me to say today for some reason, in security circles as a CNC or C2. Going forward, the app would receive the same instruction every 15 minutes indefinitely. In an email he wrote, during my analysis, ARAT was actively capable of exfiltrating data and recording microphone. A couple of times I removed the app and reinstalled, and the app always behaved the same. Data exfiltration is enabled based on the commands in a config file returned from the CNC. During my analysis, the config file always returned the command to record audio, which means it turned on the mic, captured audio, and sent it to the C2. It happened constantly in my case, since it was conditional to commands that were received in the config file. Config was received every 15 minutes and record duration set to 1 minute. During analysis, my device always received commands to record and send mic audio to C2. It recorded 3 to 4 times. Then I stopped the malware. So in other words, it's just going to keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the developer telling us this.
Yeah. Yeah. It's ridiculous. In 2019, Stefanko reported finding an AHMyth implemented rat in Radio Baluch, which was a fully working streaming radio app for enthusiasts of Balochi music, which hails from southeastern Iran. I don't know how many people downloaded that deal, but hey, you had a problem there. That app had a significantly smaller install base of just 100 plus Google Play users. So yeah, all 100 of you done got it. A prolific threat group has been active since at least 2013 has also used AHMyth to backdoor Android apps that targeted military and government personnel in India. There's no indication that the threat group, tracked by researchers under the names Transparent Tribe, APT36, Mythic Leopard, Project M, or Operation C Major, ever spread the app through Google Play, and the infection vector remains unclear. So, yeah, it's a growing problem. So
and you're literally willingly downloading a recorder to your phone. Like, you know it's going to be used to spy on you.
Yeah. Yep, that's for sure. Bruiser, guess what?
What? More nightmare fuel?
Yeah. It turns out that an eating disorder helpline fired its staff and transitioned to a chatbot after they unionized.
So instead of dealing with a union, we're just going to get something that has no feelings whatsoever and has been known to be racist and tell people to kill themselves. To do therapy for people in probably the lowest point of their lives.
But it has a cute name, Bruiser.
Oh yeah, what is it? Is it slay me, slay yourself?
No.
GPT.
No, the chatbot's name is Tessa, and will replace the entire helpline program starting June 1st.
God.
Good luck if you have an eating disorder. Executives at the National Eating Disorders Association, or NEDA, decided to replace hotline workers with a chatbot named Tessa 4 days after the workers unionized. NEDA, the largest nonprofit organization dedicated to eating disorders, has had a helpline for the last 20 years that provided support to hundreds of thousands of people via chat, phone call, and text. NEDA claims that this was a long-anticipated change and that AI can better serve those with eating disorders. How?
Yeah, how? I give this 3 weeks before someone dies because of this.
I'm hungry. Let me order you KFC. I can just see something really, really going wrong with this. It says here, but do not be fooled. This isn't really about a chatbot. This is about union busting, plain and simple, Helpline associate and union member Abby Harper wrote in a blog post. According to Harper, the helpline is composed of 6 paid staffers, a couple of supervisors, and up to 200 volunteers at any given time. A group of 4 full-time workers at NEDA, including Harper, decided to unionize because they felt overwhelmed and understaffed. We asked for adequate staffing and ongoing training to keep up with our changing and growing helpline and opportunities for promotion to grow within NEDA. We didn't even ask for more money, Harper wrote. When NEDA refused to recognize our union, we filed for an election with the National Labor Relations Board and won on March 17th.
So NEDA's just afraid of what could possibly come of this.
Yes.
With them being unionized.
Yes. Yep. Then 4 days after our election results were certified, all 4 of us were told we were being let go and replaced by a chatbot. The chatbot named Tessa is described as a wellness chatbot and has been in operation since February of 2022, a whole year.
Yeah, she's a year old. Way to go.
Yep. The helpline program will end starting June 1st. And Tessa will become the main support system available through NEDA. Helpline volunteers were also asked to step down from their one-on-one support roles and serve as testers for the chatbot. According to NPR, which obtained a recording of the call where NEDA fired helpline staff. What? Okay, so
wait, what?
They obtained a recording of the call where NEDA fired helpline staff and announced a transition to the chatbot. Tessa was created by a team at Washington University's medical school and spearheaded by Dr. Ellen Fitzsimmons Kraft. The chatbot was trained to specifically address body image issues using therapeutic methods and only has a limited number of responses. Oh, this will be good.
Well, I told you 3 weeks. I give it 3 weeks before someone passes away because of this.
Oh my God. Okay, I'm going to skip to the part where it gets really, really good. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Here's the quote. Please note that Tessa, the chatbot program, is not a replacement for the helpline. It is a completely different program offering and was born out of the need to adapt to the changing needs and expectations of our community, a NEDA spokesperson told Motherboard. Also, Tessa is not ChatGPT. They spelled it wrong. This is a rule-based guided conversation. Tessa does not make decisions or grow with the chatter. The program follows predetermined pathways based upon the researcher's knowledge of individuals and their needs. In other words,
it's not going to go well. It's going to follow an online script, and if you say something that doesn't go with the online script, it'll malfunction.
Yep, it'll just give you nonsense and bullshit. Which, by the way, Nonsense and Bullshit, the name of our new album coming out on Iris Records. Yes. The NEDA spokesperson also told Motherboard that Tessa was tested on 700 women between November 2021 through 2023, and 375 of them gave Tessa a 100% helpful rating.
But were they dealing with actual issues, or were they just volunteers? They said, hey, we need you to talk to this bot.
Says as the researchers concluded their evaluation on the study, they found the success of Tessa demonstrates the potential advantages of the chatbot as a cost-effective, easily accessible, and non-stigmatizing option for prevention and intervention in eating disorders, they wrote. Harper thinks that the implementation of Tessa strips away the personal aspect of the support hotline, in which many of the associates can speak from their own experiences. Some of us have personally recovered from eating disorders and bring that invaluable experience to our work. All of us came to this job because of our passion for eating disorders and mental health advocacy and our desire to make a difference, she wrote in her blog list.
There's something that AI cannot do, and that's sympathy or empathy. And that's why when you call these hotlines, you can speak with somebody who either has sympathy for you or empathy for you, and they can speak to you in that tone. Where if you're talking to an AI bot, it's just monotone with no feeling whatsoever.
Evidently, Motherboard tested this right off the bat. It tells you it's a chatbot.
Okay.
And it tells you it's not GPT based. So it tells you it has limited options. Interesting.
Yeah. I'm not a fan. 3 weeks till somebody gets hurt.
I think so. Yeah, I think you're right. Let's move on. One thing that is GPT based and probably is going to blow your brain up. Elon Musk is in the brain chip game. And his brain chip company just got approval to start human trials. Are you in?
No, because he was one of the people that first came out and said we need to slow down with the AI stuff.
Yeah, but he's firing it up again. He lied.
His ADHD just got a hold of him.
Yeah. He saw the dollar signs.
Yeah.
Billionaire Elon Musk's company Neuralink received approval from the FDA to conduct its first in-human clinical trials involving its brain implant called the Link. Last Thursday, the company said the Link aims to help patients with severe degenerative diseases regain their ability to communicate using only neural signals, such as moving cursors and typing with their minds. This is the result of incredible work by the Neuralink team in close collaboration with the FDA and represents an important first step that will one day allow our technology to help many people, the company wrote in a tweet shared on Thursday. The extent of the approved trial was not known at the time of publication on Thursday. Neuralink is among several people in the growing brain-computer interface industry, which features systems that decipher brain signals and translates them to commands for external technologies. Musk is also the CEO of Tesla, SpaceX, and Twitter, and has previously stated the company also intends to one day successfully treat brain disorders, as well as restore vision, even to those born blind, during a live-streamed event in November of 2022. The quote here from Elon Musk is, "Even if we do not succeed with that problem, we are confident at this point that we will succeed at solving many brain injury issues, spine injury issues, and such along the way." So, how many brains and spines need to explode before we get this thing going?
I mean, his heart's in the right spot. He wants to help people out. He's just going the wrong way about doing it.
We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, hopefully it's successful for people. And we don't, they don't hack it to where after a year, now Elon Musk has a soldier, an army of people with brain chips.
A paralyzed super soldier walking around. Yeah. There was
super strength because they can't feel pain.
Yeah, that's true. There was some encouraging news, however, this week. I will play the theme behind it, though, because I'm a little skeptical. If you were watching the BBC at all, you would see that there was a brain implant that did help a paralyzed man walk again. I don't know if you saw the clip.
No.
It was intriguing.
Okay.
A paralyzed man has been able to walk simply by thinking about it, thanks to electronic brain implants, a medical first that he says changed his life. 40-year-old Dutch man Gert Jan Oskam was paralyzed in a cycling accident 12 years ago. The electronic implants wirelessly transmit his thoughts to his legs and feet via a second implant on his spine, which is interesting. It's very interesting. The system is still in experimental stage. At a leading UK spinal charity called it very encouraging. "I feel like a toddler learning to walk again," Mr. Oskam told the BBC. He also can now stand and climb stairs. It's very awkward to watch him do it, though.
Well, yeah, 'cause he hasn't done it in how long, and he's not...
That's what it is. And if you can imagine, like, now, my legs are numb from the kneecaps down, okay?
Okay.
So when I wake up in the morning, it's hard for me to first put my feet on the floor because I have no sensation. So you got to kind of, if you can imagine waking up with numb legs and then putting your legs on the floor and trying to walk.
Oh yeah, that's what
happened. That's what it was like for him. So no feeling, and then all of a sudden you got to get up and try and walk again.
Yeah.
Literally on dead legs.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. He says it's been a long journey, but now I can stand up and have a beer with my friend. It's a pleasure that many people don't realize. The development, published in the journal Nature, was led by Swiss researchers, Professor Jocelyn Bloch of Lausanne University, who is the neurosurgeon who carried out the delicate surgery to insert the implants, stressed that the system was still at a basic research stage. It was many years away from being available to paralyzed patients. But she told BBC News that it was the team's aim to get it out of the lab and into the clinic as soon as possible. The important thing for us is not just to have a scientific trial, but eventually to give more access to more people with spinal cord injuries who are used to hearing from doctors that they just have to get used to the fact that they will never move again. Harvey Sahota is chief executive of the UK charity Spinal Research, which was not involved in the research. He said that although there was a long way to go before the technology would be generally available, he described the development as very encouraging. It was interesting to see the clip, that's for sure, and it was quite encouraging. It was actually pretty inspirational. So.
I'm all for it. Like, I've had a couple friends that are paralyzed either from the neck down or the waist down, just from the business that we're in, mm-hmm. and would love to see them walk again. Yeah. And if this can be done safely, I'm all for it.
Yeah. Most definitely. Let's move on. The house that inspired The Conjuring offers camping experiences now. It used to be the people who owned it before would let you stay in the house.
Yeah.
Evidently not. Now you can stay out on the lawn. It's just not that kind of house anymore, Bruiser.
I love that the people, if it's the same people that owned it, they bought it because they were paranormal investigators themselves and wanted to have it.
Yeah.
And then realized they got in way over their head.
The Rhode Island house that inspired the 2013 horror movie The Conjuring is offering fans of the film and amateur paranormal investigators a chance to go Ghamping, they're calling it, which is ghost camping on the property.
I'm for it. This is great.
The Burrillville structure, dubbed the Conjuring House after gaining fame from the film, said 8 campsites have been set up on the property, each with a 3 to 4 person tent. The campsites, how much do you think per night?
$100.
And I'll go a little higher.
$500.
A little lower, $300 to $400 a night.
Okay.
And each has its own fright factor rating, said to correlate with the spookiness of the camping experience.
Now, do you get to investigate inside the house, or do you have to stay on your campsite?
Yes. Okay. Visitors are to bring their own equipment to investigate what might await in the darkness, because this excursion is sure to test your capacity to experience the paranormal. The Conjuring House website states the home was not seen on screen in The Conjuring, but the residents hosted the real-life events that served as the basis for the movie. The Perron family, whose lives were dramatized in the movie, reported numerous paranormal experiences during their decade in the home. The house, which it was sold to its current owners in May of 2022, also offers tours and rentals for private events. So yes, you can now go Ghamping.
And I know there was an episode, I don't remember what it was an episode of, where they brought a couple of the parish girls back to the house. And they got to go into it.
Yeah, the Perron family?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perron. Sorry, I said parish. Yeah.
Yeah. The Perron family. Yep. Let's move on. We have a couple of the most terrifying stories of the year so far, I believe.
Okay. I love being terrified. Let's terrify.
Let's start with a painting, first of all, that was hidden in a wall for 46 years.
There's a reason it was hidden.
That's right. A man finds a terrifying painting hidden in a wall after living in a home for 46 years. The man has taken to Reddit to share how he discovered this creepy painting that has been hidden inside his wall for at least 4 decades, and it's beyond creepy, according to him. The man has been left gobsmacked after discovering a painting of an old man with no eyes.
Ooh,
yeah,
that's scary.
Yeah, hidden inside his wall. He explained how he was carrying out rerouting work through his hallway when he made the surprise discovery, making him wonder who put it there and why. Taking to Reddit, he said, "I found this inside the wall in my hallway. We lived in this house for all of my 46 years. He looks terrifying and has no eyes. On the back, so faintly written that I cannot capture it with my camera, are the words, 'An old man called Energy.'"
Oh.
Yeah.
That's intriguing.
Yeah. But while he claims the painting itself doesn't scare him, he is weirded out by the idea it has been lurking inside the walls for decades. He added, "It's painted on wood. It says Frederick, 1972. Here's the painting so you can see it, Bruiser.
Oh, that is creepy.
Isn't it?
That looks like if I was going to make a comic book cover of a horror comic, that's what I would put on.
That would be it. Yep. Yeah, it's just for the audience to describe it. It's just, if you can imagine a comic book cover and the forehead, eyebrows, nose, and the eyes shadowed out.
It's the bridge of the nose, yep.
Yeah, bridge of the nose, yep. The owner of the painting says, "I'm actually rather chicken shit about a lot of ridiculous things, but this painting, as much as I am loath to admit, does not creep me out at all. It's weird. There's nothing malevolent around this painting," he says. "My teenage daughter isn't even afraid." While he remained calm over the discovery, other Reddit users did not, urging him to move out before the spirits get him. Yeah.
Well, if he had no activity now or up to this point, you can basically go, okay, now that I'm having activity, it's the painting.
That's right. One user said, "The power of Christ compels you. Have you considered burning the house down?" Another user added, "I know a good realtor." A third user said, "Now you have to open up all your walls." One more user added, "That's some shit straight out of Ghostbusters." Let's move on to the next story, which is creepier than creepy. Are you ready for this, Bruiser?
Oh, I love creepy.
All right. Inside one of the world's most haunted homes, it's filled with creepy dolls and satanic signs.
Of course it is.
Yes, it is, my friend.
Because those go hand in hand.
This haunted home is in Mexico and is known as the White House, and it's not the good kind of White House.
Is our White House good? I mean,
well, I suppose that White House
back and forth. Yeah,
that White House has had some creepy stuff in it too. Yeah. It was filled with creepy paraphernalia, including dolls, bird feathers, and satanic symbols. The one in Mexico, that is, according to this urban explorer. The urban explorer managed to keep his nerve as he made his way around a building haunted by a woman in a white dress. They all have a woman in a white dress, don't they?
Yeah, that's like the most common haunt.
Yeah. Jose Flores visited the home, dubbed the White House, owing to the color of its walls, which is believed to have been ghost-ridden since the 1980s. Ooh, since the 1980s.
43 years old.
43 years old. The 23-year-old was allowed in with the current owner's permission, but what he found inside would give even the bravest of people the chills. Opening the front door, Jose was met by a red satanic symbol painted on the wall. Actually, I can show you the satanic symbol. Are you ready for this? So he walked in, Bruiser, and he saw this.
This is the first thing you see? Yeah, I turn around and leave.
Yeah, it's a little alarming when you first.
If that's the first thing you see, yeah.
That's the first thing you see. The discovery set the tone for the rest of the creepy trip around the house. Several doors were damaged inside the home, and Jose also found handprints and scratches on the walls and 2 prosthetic legs.
What is it with prosthetic legs lately?
I don't know. They've been all over the place in our stories lately. They're walking through our minds, Bruiser. They're walking through our minds. Other discoveries were from people's nightmares, as he found a room full of dolls still hanging from the ceiling and a bath full of feathers.
See, again, terrifying.
It sounds like Freakzillaville is what it sounds like. It's
Somebody got drunk and like, hey, I'm going to scare a bunch of people.
Dude, here's the deal. We're going to hang a bunch of dolls from the ceiling, creepy dolls from the ceiling. Let's fill that bathtub full of feathers, dude.
Quick, and cut your hand and put a big satanic symbol right there, right when you walk in.
Some doors were locked shut, leaving only people's imaginations on what might be inside.
Pick the lock. Go see.
Pick the lock and go see. Despite the spooky findings, Jose was unable to find any sign of the woman in the white dress who is said to have wandered the hall since the 1980s, probably looking for what happened to different strokes, I'm guessing. He said the only thing we know is that the woman decided to leave the house because she had suffered a family tragedy. Apparently, she lost her son and husband, and people who pass by this place see the woman in white through the windows. Now I have a rap song going through my head. I'm sorry. On the second floor, this woman has been seen several times. Jose shared his findings on social media and has racked up 36,200 likes on TikTok. Many viewers said they thought they saw a running figure in the video, leading them to believe it was one of the ghosts that Jose was searching for. One viewer said, in the beginning, a shadow appears running. Norman added, "Bro, you have to be very, very careful. Never go alone." Anna added, "The ghost of the woman. Guys, beware."
Thank you.
These guys are very melodramatic. Wendy said of the video, "I already went there with my aunt, my stepfather, and my mother, and it really feels a very strange vibe, and it feels like someone is watching you." It comes as earlier this month, a woman was shocked when she spotted a ghostly white figure floating around while visiting on the beach. The witness was out walking when she spotted a white figure on the beach in the distance, which she believes could be an otherworldly figure in nature. So there you go. Interesting stuff.
Very interesting.
Yep. We're going to get into some Bigfoot stories now.
Oh, yeah.
If you're ready for this.
Let's get squatchy.
We're going to get squatchy here. We're going to start out with a Goliath Bigfoot print discovered that must have, if you're ready for this, been left by a 20-foot beast.
Jeez. That's the biggest one we've heard of.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest one, if it's true.
Yeah.
Bigfoot believers are left in a frenzy after a woman shared a photo of a monster footprint found in the wilderness that's so huge. How huge is it?
How huge is it?
It's so huge, some reckon the beast that left it must have been about 20 foot tall. A Goliath footprint has been discovered that some reckon was reckon. I don't know why they use reckon over and over again. I reckon this was written by someone in South England.
I was going to say, this is a southern tale.
Yeah. Was left by Bigfoot. An image of the monster footprint pressed into the sand was shared on the Bigfoot Believers Facebook group. I didn't know there was one, by Jill Burke. In the comments section, she explained she found it roughly 3 miles off a trail at Joshua Tree National Park in Southern California. The caption read, "Found this print this morning, Monday, May 29th. Her post has more than 1,400 reactions. Jill has placed her foot alongside the supposed Bigfoot print in the image to give some sense of perspective. Her shoe was absolutely dwarfed by the track, which appeared more than 2 times larger."
But how big are her feet? You know what I mean? Like, we don't know how big her feet are. Okay.
You're jumping. You're jumping.
I'm jumping. You're right. I'm excited. We're squatching. So
I'm going to nickname you Froggy because you're jumping.
I love the squatch. You know that.
Okay. She commented to explain she wears a size 8 shoe. Okay. That converts to a women's size 6 in the UK, measuring 24.5 centimeters or 9.6 inches. That means the footprint is over 49 centimeters or 19.3 inches in length. Okay. Several Facebook users reckoned, there it is again, that Jill had stumbled across the real thing and that it must have been a much larger than average Bigfoot, whatever that is. One comment read, "That thing must be 20 feet tall." Another person said, "Holy shit, that's a huge Bigfoot. He's probably at least 600 pounds. A third.
Why are they throwing all these out there? Like, if it's 19 feet, it's a size 19 shoe. Doesn't Shaq wear like a size 16 or something like that?
I think so.
Like, they're kind of blowing it out of proportion.
Let me Google it real quick. What is let's see here.
Because you know what I mean? Like, I get they want to make it big, but like, if it's just like a size 19 shoe, that's an NBA player. I mean, a big one.
Yeah, but Well, but
you know
Shaq
see where I'm going with that? Like, it doesn't mean that it's 600 pounds and 20 feet tall. It means it's big. Don't get me wrong.
What does Shaq weigh in retirement? You figure he's what, 350? 350, 400, something like that? And,
yeah, he's got to be in his 30s.
Okay, so let me put in Shaq shoe size. It sounds like it's showing itself. Shaq has a size 22 foot.
See, so look, and he's what, 6'10", 6'11"?
He's 7'1".
Okay.
Yeah.
So this Bigfoot could be
20 feet tall. No. Wait a minute. So how many inches is size 22? Let's figure this out here.
All right.
Okay, so Shaq's shoe size in inches is 16 inches long.
And they said 19.
19. So it's not 600 pounds.
No.
So that Bigfoot was probably about what, 450?
Yeah, about. I mean, it's a big Bigfoot, don't get me wrong. But he's not 20 feet tall, 600 pounds. I think he's got to be about 8 feet.
Yeah, about 8, 9 feet.
450 pounds.
About standard Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
trying to look and see what Andre was.
I thought Andre was legit. Well,
Andre was 7'4".
Well, no, that was work height. I just read an article the other day that Andre wasn't legit 7'4".
Okay.
Because they had a picture of him and Wilt Chamberlain, and Wilt Chamberlain towered over Andre.
He did. Okay.
Yeah, the two were standing next to each other.
Okay.
They said Andre was more like 6'11" or something like that before he died.
Which is still huge.
Yeah, he's a big man.
Yeah.
But because of back problems and all that other stuff before he died.
Yeah. So this is just the Andre the Giant. Or we'll say Shaq, because Shaq was taller. This is the Shaq of Sasquatch.
Yeah.
This is a Shaqsquatch.
Yeah, Shaqsquatch. In subsequent comments, a third person said, I 100% believe you. I don't, because it's not 20 feet tall and 600 pounds. No. In subsequent comments, Jill claimed similar footprints could be found all over here at Joshua Tree National Park. She said she pictured the largest one she found. Jill also said she reckons, there it is again, there's a few Bigfoot families in the area. She claimed the team from the TV show Expedition Bigfoot had agreed to visit the park and investigate. However, not everyone was convinced by the footprint. One comment read, "Why is there only one print? Don't they have 2 effing legs? Why no other prints?"
Because they're walking?
Because they floated in? I don't know. Another person said, "It's amazing how something that big only leaves one print." Well, maybe they have a large stride. Maybe you missed the other prints.
Or the other prints you can't photograph or you can't cast, or there's reasons why they only do one at a time, you know?
Yeah. Yep. Let's move on. The FBI's secret Bigfoot investigation has been revealed. Did you know that the FBI once conducted a secret investigation into the existence of Bigfoot? Actually, there's an article out there that details it. The story does date back to 1976 when a man named Peter Byrne sent a mysterious tissue sample to the FBI asking them to analyze it and determine its origin. He claimed that the sample came from a Bigfoot creature. The FBI usually only examines evidence related to crimes, but this time they made an exception. Perhaps they were curious about the legendary cryptid, or maybe they wanted to put an end to the speculation. They tested the sample and found out that it was from the deer family. However, they did not disclose their findings to the public. They kept the information classified for over 40 years. In 2019, the FBI finally released 22 documents from their records archives, releasing their Bigfoot research. The documents showed that they received several requests from Byrne and other Bigfoot enthusiasts over the years, but they had always declined to get involved. The only exception was the tissue sample that Byrne sent in 1976. The FBI's Bigfoot investigation may not have been very conclusive, however, but it shows that they were willing to consider the possibility of an unknown creature roaming the woods. It also shows that there is still a lot of interest and mystery surrounding Bigfoot, even among the most skeptical and authoritative institutions. Some people believe that the government would never admit the existence of Bigfoot to any other cryptid or any other cryptid. They wouldn't admit it to a cryptid either. Even if they had proof, they think that it would be better to fund independent experts who would conduct more thorough and unbiased research. However, finding such experts is not easy. Cryptozoology is often seen as a fringe field that attracts hoaxers and fanatics. Many scientists and professionals avoid talking about Bigfoot or other cryptids for fear of losing their credibility or reputation. One of the few exceptions is Dr. Jane Goodall, a renowned primatologist who has expressed an openness to the idea of Bigfoot. She has said that she has heard stories from indigenous hunters in remote areas where she has studied primates, describing walking monkeys without tails that are taller than humans. She has also said that she would love to see evidence of Bigfoot someday. Bigfoot remains one of the most elusive and fascinating creatures in folklore and popular culture. Whether you believe in its existence or not, you would have to admit that it is a captivating topic that sparks curiosity and imagination. Who knows what secrets are still hidden in the forests and mountains of the world? So there you go.
Hey, Jane Goodall's a believer. I'm a believer.
And if you're a believer, I'm a believer. Wouldn't you want to believe a believer too? I don't know. That's a Dr. Pepper line, I believe.
I can't wait till the Jane Goodall documentary comes out, the Sasquatch in the Mist.
Sasquatch in the Mist. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. We got a few stories left here. You know what? Let's do another Parashare here, shall we?
Yeah.
We have, let's see, we got to get to Matt's stuff here. Matt has sent in a few stories here for Parashare. And he got a hold of me and said, "Hey, Tim, how come you're not reading my Parashare stuff?" Well, Matt, I didn't mean to skip over you.
Yeah.
That wasn't the deal. We run into times here on the program where we run out of time, and that's our apologies there. We don't mean to skip over you. Matt says, "Hey, Cruiser and Bruiser, it's Matt. I sent you guys a story maybe last year about what you guys classified as an elemental, and I appreciate that. This story isn't so long. It was kind of a one-time encounter, but with a lot of idle feeling behind it before and after. I had moved from the last place with the elemental and a few years go by, and it seemed fine, but I found myself being a lot calmer and more comfortable with the concept of death, and thinking and seeing things in regards to potential or legitimate loss of life. And only one of the visions came true, which was a neighbor behind me passing from choking, which I had a dream about a few days before. About 7 months later, my grandpa and brother went on a trip, leaving my grandma and myself at home for a few days. I felt an increase of my comfortable feeling with death, and one night I woke up to a sound of a chain being pulled. It sounded like it had slack, tighten and pull, then stop and repeat. I awoke to a 7+ foot being, looked like a dark mass standing on the stairs with a long hood with a shadow covering the face. It was pulling a thick, what seemed like metal box out of my room and slowly towards him. It was about 4 minutes in before I opened my little book light, shined it over, and still saw this mass in more detail before shouting out to my grandma, who ran out of her room, stopped, ran in, closed the door, and just prayed with me for what seemed like hours. I woke up after staring at the door for hours, and my grandma was still up. I had my light in my hand, door was still closed, and my grandma was reading the Bible. Unfortunately, I was not able to clarify things as I grew older and kind of realized what happened, but curious as to what you guys might think. Appreciate you both and love the show. Take care, guys. Matt from Ontario. He has an additional note here. It says, I need to add, when I saw it on the stairs, even though it had no visuals of a face, I could tell it was looking at me, only at me. Just such a gut feeling. I feel like whatever was happening was draining me in a sense.
Oh, okay.
So what do you think?
It was using his energy to bring itself into this plane.
Yeah, yeah. Got any thoughts?
That is terrifying.
It is terrifying.
I don't know what it could be, though. Have you... It's carrying a chain with a box. Because when he said a cloaked figure, I'm like, okay, it could be like a Grim Reaper or a Reaper or something. But no one passed, and it was pulling a chain with a box, so I'm curious.
Well, no one passed, but then, sometimes the living can act as an anchor. And calling Grandma in could have kept him anchored then. I don't know. I hesitate to ask Matt what his health was like at that time.
Yeah.
Were you ill at the time? Were you feeling like maybe you're having a tough time hanging on? I don't know. Or was there somebody else in the house that maybe was ill?
Well, he said it was just him and Grandma. And when Grandma came in, she closed the door instantly and started praying. So
right.
Grandma saw it too, whatever it was.
Or was maybe Grandma not doing well?
That's what I'm thinking was Grandma ill and this was a sign of something to come?
Yeah.
But Grandma's faith pulled them both through?
Yeah, and did he say something about how big the box was?
No, he just said it was a box with a chain.
Yeah.
And I feel it was feeding off him. If his energy was being depleted, that means it was feeding off him.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, bizarre. Let's.
And I haven't heard of any demons that carry a box. I mean, there are, but.
Well, when I say how big the box was, I'm wondering if the box was coffin shaped.
Ah, gotcha. Yep.
Yeah, because box with a chain to me suggests trapping of a soul, but
yeah,
I don't know.
That's what I was thinking. Demonic.
Yeah. Let's read another one here. This one comes from Scott, and he says, Cruiser and Bruiser. In the mid 80s, I was around 8 years old in my parents' house when my older brother, who is 15 years older than me, and my sister, who is 12 years older than me, yes, I was a mistake. Oh, no one's ever a mistake. No, don't talk like that. On a particular day, I came out of the living room into the hallway, heading to the staircase, going upstairs to see my sister. When I reached the hallway, I looked left into the kitchen where my brother was. My brother is distinctive, being 6'9".
That's a big boy.
Holy cow. And then having black spiked hair, so that made him around 6'11". That made him a little too tall for your house, I think, is what that made him. The person stood in the kitchen, looked like my brother, but older and much more thick set without the spiky 80s hair. I ran up the stairs, shouting my sister's name, Lisa, to tell her about my brother in the kitchen, not looking like my brother. After much pleading, she came down the stairs with me, only to see my brother in the kitchen looking back at us, asking what we were looking at. Sadly, a year ago, my father passed away, and my mother was moving out of the family house, so my sister and myself went to help pack up the house. My brother was working, so was unable to help that day. I was in the kitchen, now much older, and 6'7" with receding hair, and being an ex-strongman and into sports all my life, built completely different to my brother, but facially we are similar. I turned around while packing a box on the kitchen counter with a feeling someone was behind me, only to see a younger child in the hall staring at me with a confused look on their face. The child then went across the hall and ran up the stairs. I could hear my sister's name being called in the distance, Lisa. My sister came down the stairs after around 20 to 30 seconds and asked, "Did you call me?" I then explained what I see, and without missing a beat, we both recalled the day in the 80s of me running up the stairs. Is this a time slip or a cross dimension? To this day, we have no explanation. Your input view would be awesome. Your show is awesome, and only my sister and myself are aware of this, and we don't share in case people think we're nuts. Scott, that's exactly what happened.
Time slip, 100%.
And if it's not a time slip, first of all, it is a time slip, but essentially you just caught yourself in amber, so to speak.
Yeah, it's an interdimensional.
Yeah, you came full circle.
Yep.
Yeah, you came full circle. You saw yourself in that moment in the future. When you were a kid, you went and saw yourself at that exact same moment, and it scared the hell out of you because you didn't know what you were looking at. You saw the future, and in that moment, and that when you were standing there and you saw that kid, you looked into the past. So essentially, you stood in front of a portal
Yep.
And you saw each other in front of a time portal, or what's known as a time slip. But it's not really a slip because you didn't go back in time. You essentially stood in front of for lack of a better term,
it's like a window.
Yes, a window. Yeah.
Yep.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's like you're looking into a window of the past.
Yeah.
And your past self was looking in the window of the future, but your past self was a little taken aback because this is brand new, where your current future self was like, this is deja vu. Like, I've experienced this before.
That's right. That's right. And you were both able to understand. Well, I shouldn't say you both. You understood. Yes. Your younger self didn't understand. But now that you've been through it, you've lived through it, and you know. And what's interesting is even Lisa now knows.
Yep.
Via you. And having that understanding is such a rich thing. You know that the universe is quirky and it works a certain way. But having been through it now, you're so much richer for knowing it.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a great phenomena to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very cool. Very cool. Let's see here. I have one here from Andrew. Let me see here. This is interesting. It's just some observations. He says, "Hey, Cruiser and Bruiser, I love the episode 58 Secrets of a Hollywood Private Eye with Fred Wolfson and Burl Bear. We brought it up earlier in the program about some things that they had said. Is it just me, or did Fred sound a lot like the I'm Too High guy from Dumb Crime, Stupid Criminals theme music? Are you high? Yeah, that guy. I couldn't get that out of my mind during the interview, but that made it all the more fun." I agree with you, Andrea did. If you want a specific timestamp example, turn to 1 hour and 55 seconds in the next episode. 59, where he talks about UCLA. I forgot to grab a timestamp. Okay. Burl also reminded me of Ric Flair. Maybe it's his accent or speech cadence. It really comes out when he laughs. I think it's the bravado.
Yeah.
Burl has a bravado to him. Such a great episode, fascinating topics, and the two of them seem like fun guys. They are very fun. The three of you played off each other very well. I'd love an episode of you, Bruiser, and the two of them shooting the shit on anything and everything. I think we may make that happen.
Yeah, I'm down.
When we do the remote viewing episode, I think I might have you on. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. That's for sure. There's one more here I wanted to get to. Where's the one that I wanted to get to? And Matt, I may do your other ones on the next episode because we're running short on time here, just so you know. Oh, yes, there's one here from, you know what? The Unresearched podcast sent another one, but I'm gonna lay off on that one too. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna say that for next podcast.
Okay.
Let's get to our other stories because we are running short on time here. So let's see here. I'm gonna have to pick and choose what we're gonna talk about here because. Okay, there's a new study out there that shows what people do when the world ends.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
What are people doing?
Well, there's always. First of all, let me ask you the question: what would you do at the end of the world?
Did I know it's the end of the world?
Mm-hmm.
I would get all of my children in the same place to give them hugs and kisses one last time.
Yeah.
And let them know how they made my life better.
That's a good goal. That's a good goal. Everybody has different things that they say they do. A lot of people, younger people are like, oh, I'd go rob a bank and spend all the money, or I'd go do this, or I'd go do that. And everybody has different goals because they're in a different place in life.
Right.
There's not much if you think about it, there's not much you can do. If the world's going to end, you're done.
Yeah, there's no tomorrow, literally.
Yeah, there's literally no tomorrow. The question is asked, what would you do if you knew the world was going to end soon? Would you abandon your morals and go on a rampage, or would you stay peaceful and loyal to your friends? It's a hard question to study in real life, but researchers have found a way to use a video game as a proxy for the apocalypse. And it is an open world, massively multiplayer online role-playing game, or an MMORPG, where players can explore, quest, level up, and collect equipment. The researchers used data from a beta test of the game where players knew that after 11 weeks, the server would be deleted and their progress and characters were lost.
Oh, okay. So there's a specific time that everything goes away. That's awesome.
Yep. This created a situation where the consequences of their actions became meaningless, similar to how some people might feel if the real world was ending. The researchers analyzed over 270 million records of player behaviors in the game, such as quest completion, leveling, ability changes, and player killing. They wanted to see if the players changed their behavior as the end of the game approached, and if they showed any signs of moral decay or social breakdown. The results were surprisingly peaceful, except for a few outliers who chose to kill each other, players, or to kill other players more often. The quote here is, our findings show that there were no apparent pandemic behavior changes, but some outliers were more likely to exhibit antisocial behavior, that according to the team. We also found that contrary to the reassuring adage that even if I knew the world were to go to pieces tomorrow, I would still plant my apple tree, players abandoned character progression, showing a drastic decrease in quest completion, leveling, and ability changes at the end of the beta test. The researchers found that most players did not exhibit any drastic changes in their behavior, and that those who stayed until the end of the game tended to be more peaceful and loyal than those that left earlier. The researchers also found that players abandoned character progression, showing a sharp decline in quest completion, leveling, and ability changes at the end of the game. They suggest that when the world is ending, people might not care much about self-improvement or personal goals. The researchers concluded that their study provides a novel way to study human behavior during the end times using a video game as a simulation. They also noted that their findings might not generalize to other games or real-world scenarios. People behave when faced with an existential threat. However, they hope that their study would inspire more research on the topic, as well as more ethical game design that considers the impact of game endings on player psychology. So there you go. I'm going to save one of these stories for next week, and that's 20 of the best conspiracy theories.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I wanted to get into it today, but we don't have enough time.
That's a lot of discussion between you and me.
Yeah, there's a story out there this week about 20 of the best conspiracy theories, which it's one of those that you could go a little bit down the rabbit hole. I don't want to go too deep into the rabbit hole. When I do some of my talks, I like to do a conspiracy theory talk, but I do it without going down a rabbit hole. And there's a way to do it.
Okay.
And talk about just some of the theories that are out there. And it's interesting. But the last story we have today has to do with a DJ that did a set for the ghosts of the ancient Ram Inn.
That's good. He's thinking of the spirits. They've been there for so long. He wants to entertain them.
Oh, I'm glad you have that look.
He wants that 4-star Apple or 5-star Apple review.
I guess so. The historic ancient Ram Inn is nested in the rural Gloucestershire village of Watton-under-Edge. Oh, that's such a cute name. It may have closed its doors as a pub in 1965. However, if its former patrons indeed haunt this atmospheric building, wouldn't they be just as keen for a party as the rest of us? I think this guy's a little vapid, I'm not sure.
Yeah, okay.
So this guy who likes to party all the time and wrote this article said he decided to test the theory for an unusual moment for his paranormal documentary, My Ghost Hunting Movie.
What a great name for a movie.
Yeah. He says he was given the opportunity to spend the night at the grade 2 listed former pub, often described not only as one of the most haunted places in the UK, but in the world. Being alone in the building overnight gave him the chance to conduct some experiments that wouldn't usually be possible during a public ghost hunting event. One activity he was particularly keen to undertake was aimed at enticing the spirits of the inn, including the ghost of murdered Elizabeth and a one-legged specter named Edward. How is he going to dance? That's all I want to know. So he was to host a small DJ set for them. His reasoning, you may ask? He believes that ghost hunters regularly venture into places like the ancient Ram Inn, sitting in the dark and calling out, "Hello, is anybody there?" If I were a ghost, he says, such efforts would hardly inspire me to engage.
So instead, his EVPs, instead of a yes or no, his EVPs he got were, whoop, whoop, put your hands up, whoop, whoop.
Yeah. He says, of course, there are those who will say that my afterlife DJ set was an unprofessional approach to paranormal investigation. I would defend my methods by saying that I wasn't at the ancient Ram Inn to capture definitive proof of the paranormal. My only objective was to have a personal experience, and people report ghostly goings on in all sorts of scenarios, from lying in bed to painting a wall and while playing music. So why not give it a try for half an hour?
You know, it's just a different way of investigating. It's not the wrong way. I mean, it's not a way I would do it.
It is, but I see a whole bunch of issues, and I'll tell you in just I'll give it 2 minutes here, and I'll tell you the issues I have. He says he set up a small DJ deck on a large Ouija board that permanently resides on a grand table and rigged the room with disco lights, and then played the Ghostbusters theme. And then he's got the colored lights going and goes, "Come on, show me your moves. Let's go. Show me those moves." And it's kind of silly, to be honest with you.
Well, none of that footage you can use. There's so much stuff in there that can clutter up the footage.
I tell you what, I'm going to post the link to this article. I know I keep saying I'm going to post the link, and sometimes I forget, but I'm going to post the link to this article on the description of this podcast, so you can see it for yourself. I tell you why I have a huge problem with this. First of all, if you're trying to do any EVP work, you're never going to get anything.
No.
The amount of RF in this room has got to be ungodly. So
oh God, yeah.
How you're going to get anything to spike is beyond me.
Yeah.
You're never going to know if you have anything there.
No, his evidence is garbage. Like, he can't have good evidence.
No.
Like, you see a shadow, okay, well, yeah, his lights are spinning.
Yeah.
You hear an EVP, oh yeah, that could be feedback from the table. You know, like.
Yeah. It's all contaminated. So. Yeah. Between the lights, the music, the amount of wires he's stringing through there for the audio system.
All the MDMA he took. Yeah,
all the Molly he's on. I mean, it's just, I mean, it's so contaminated. I can't imagine that you can.
None of it's credible evidence, but he even said himself, he's not going there for that. He wants to have a personal experience.
Yeah. So, if you find one, great for you.
And it's a way to sell his mixtape. I
think it's a way for people to watch his movie and get himself out there. But it's called My Ghost Hunting Movie. And yes, there's an official trailer out there and everything. So and he got me. So I'll put up his little higgypop.com article, and you can watch it and you can go, oh, that's the cutest thing ever. So So I'll put it up in the description of this program. You can see it for yourself. Bruiser, what you got going on this weekend?
I'm off this weekend. I'm going to be training the youth of professional wrestling. If you want to become a wrestler, go to amlwrestling.com or on Facebook, AML Wrestling, and inquire about the training. And then just getting ready for surgery. We're a month away.
There you go.
So I'm excited, getting fixed up.
I'm off to go see the foot surgeon myself today. So I'm going to go see Dr. Pena today and have him take a look at the Charcot foot, and he can tell me, it'll probably be this fall, but he's going to tell me a little bit about whether we're going to do this again. So we'll see if we're going to flatten out the foot this fall. And that's what I got going on today. And then this weekend, you can tune into KNSIRadio.com. You can hear me do something other than the paranormal and true crime. You can hear me do weather and sports and be a general Joe.
On the 1s, the 3s, the 5s, and 9s.
That's right. Weather on the 1s, 3s, 5s, and 9s, and 7s, and 8s. That's right. KNSIRadio.com. That's what I'll be doing this weekend on Saturday, not on Sunday, on Saturday. So also tomorrow on the show, Nathaniel Gillis is back with us.
Excited for this.
Yes, he is back with us tomorrow. Demonologist Nathaniel Gillis will be talking about his theory behind missing baby syndrome and missing fetus syndrome and what it has to do with demons, among other things.
And if no one's heard your first interview with this guy, he is such an easy interview, and it's a conversation. He's a great interview, and he's got a lot of knowledge, a lot.
Yeah, and he if you don't remember the first interview, we had talked in this first interview about how he believed that aliens and demons were essentially one and the same, and he described his oppression by a creature that he believed first presented itself to him as an alien or a gray, later became a demon. And that story in itself will absolutely chill you. So much like Bruiser said, go back, listen to that first interview before you catch this next podcast, and we'll tie the two together. And boy, oh boy, we're going to have some...
He backs up all of his theories with evidence. So I thought he was a great interview. I'm very excited.
Yep. We're going to have some fun tomorrow on the show. It's Thursday's supernatural episode of Darkness Radio, our supernatural interview with Nathaniel Gillis. It's going to be a good one tomorrow. So that'll do it for today's episode of Supernatural News. We appreciate you tuning in. Again, if you have a story submission, a Parashare story submission, you can email us, tim@darknessradio.com, or you can send us an audio note by going to darknessradioshow.com. Leave us that note by clicking on the blue button. You get 2 minutes, a 2-minute audio loop. Just leave that note there, and then we'll play it on the show like we did today. For Beer City Bruiser, I'm Tim Dennis. Thank you so much, folks, for, again, listening to the show. Again, your efforts have been great. They've been monumental. We're charting on Apple Podcast charts and on Spotify charts. We appreciate you for that. We love you for that. You have no idea how much it means to us that you're taking time out of your busy day and your busy schedule to listen to us be idiots. That's essentially is what it is. We, you have no idea how much that tickles us and how much we love what we do and how much we love you for it, for listening to us. And it absolutely touches us. So thank you for continuing to be there for us. We appreciate it. We'll see you again tomorrow for the best in paranormal programming. This is Darkness Radio.